The United States government is seeking to end our great Constitution. This will endanger all the American people, and we will not stand by and watch while this tyrannical government prepares to rip away all the freedoms that our forefathers granted us. The freedoms that we fought for, bled for, and died for.
Americans are under attack by their own government. We must band together. We must tell our government that we, the people, will not stand by and watch our liberties be taken away. Let the resistance begin.
Hey, welcome everyone to The Resistance. My name is Nick Larson, and I'd like to welcome everyone to the first broadcast of The Resistance. Yes, The Resistance, it has begun. I'd like to introduce two of my hosts here. We got Dino Simpson. Dino, hi. How you doing?
I'm excited. I can't lie. This has been crazy. It's been nerve-wracking. It's awesome to finally have this started right now.
Exactly. A month, at least a month in the planning, in the works and everything. And so far, I mean, we've gotten huge amounts of support. Just like to thank everyone out there right now that has come and liked our Facebook page, listened to our messages and stuff like that. Big thank you. Now, another person I'd like to introduce you to is JJ. JJ, how you doing?
Doing lovely.
That's good. So, all right. Now, I just wanted to ask each one of you. Dino, I'm going to start with you here. Tell us a little bit about who you are, where you're from, and what does the resistance mean to you?
Well, I'm Dino Simpson. Right now I reside in Hyde Park, New York, but I'm pretty much from everywhere. I'm your typical American from the 90s, if you will. I made a lot of mistakes, did a lot of things, but I'm here today, a smarter man, a better man, to be able to own up to these things and to be able to finally stop the injustice that go on every single day. It's you stand by for a long time. I was a huge talk radio fan for a very long time. Very, very long time. I've listened to NPR, I've listened to Glenn Beck, I've listened to Rush Limbaugh, I've listened to, you name them, I've listened to them. And over the years, I've swung as far to the right as possible. There was a time where I was as far to the left as possible. And the one thing I realized, and this is why I'm here today, right now, is that both sides are screwed up. I hate to be the first one to tell people this, but, the labels, the things that we're using nowadays are what's stopping any bit of progress that we have. There is corruption on both sides, folks. I can no longer stand by and watch it and not do anything. I feel like, it's my duty as an American citizen. This is the reason why this country was founded, was for people like me and people like everybody else out there listening right now to be able to stop and tell our government that we will not take it anymore. We now see what's going on, and we will be there to basically stop it. We will be there to make sure our rights are protected.
Okay, yeah, and like you said, this isn't something that just happened overnight. This is something that's been going on for many presidential administrations, and we'll get into that more about that a little later on the show. But I do agree that the whole labels, I believe that is one propaganda form that the government is using to divide us as a people. I mean, you look at the liberal media, CNN, for instance, paints us as radical extremist militia groups are forming everywhere.
But what people don't understand about that, and even CNN, this is the thing that bothers me, is that this is what we were supposed to be able to do. This was the purpose of America. This is what was going to set us different than any other country, is that the people had the power. And throughout the years, and this is what I've noticed, is that the people, the powers that be, have figured out that they know how to trick the people into giving up their power. And this is what got us here today. Too many people, they care, and I fell into this too. Let me not, be, lashing out at people, but too many people care more about their Facebook status. They care more about that next YouTube video or the next movie that's coming out than they do about anything, especially let alone their local elections. This is something that I'm going to be getting into here in the show and using this as a platform to really get people educated on we're going to start locally and how to participate in your local government, how to vote, something as simple as that. There are a lot of people that I talk to on a daily basis that it's not that they don't want to vote, but a lot of times they don't know how to vote, or a lot of times they don't know what's going on, so they feel their vote wouldn't count. And that's what I hope through this medium right here, that we can reach the people and we can tell them that vote does matter. Your opinion is what guides this country. The people have the power.
Exactly. And and what is just before tonight's broadcast, I actually came across some staggering statistics about voting in America. And people say their vote doesn't count or whatever. Well, I believe I'm trying to find the statistics so far, but
I think we should be honest with everybody. Come on, I know we're trying to do this as serious as possible, but I think we are extremely nervous. I can hear it in my voice. I can hear it in your voice. JJ, once he starts speaking, is probably the same way. So I think we'll just take a collective breath now, and then let's hit it away.
Yeah, okay. Anyways, so JJ, same question, I guess. Who are you? Where are you from? And what do you think the resistance?
I'm JJ. I'm from Minnesota. The resistance means to me is, as we go throughout this show, is getting people more educated on what's going on, things that people should be doing within their communities, what our government's trying to do to us. I mean, it's a whole teaching experience. And you got me trying to follow up Dino here. It just went on for about 10 minutes. I mean, goddamn.
I'm a bit long-winded.
A bit.
Oh, yeah. I'd say way more than that. But yeah, I just want. I think me and Dino are pretty much on the same page here. Just trying to bring the education to the people that want to listen to our show.
Exactly. Okay, well, I guess my turn in the hot seat. I'm Nick Larson. I'm from Minnesota, born and raised here in the land of 10,000 lakes. Basically, the resistance for me, I mean, is, at first it started out as a Second Amendment issue, the federal government wanting to ban firearms. But then when I got reading into this even further, more into the resistance movement, I'm finding out that, it's not just our Second Amendment, but our First Amendment right, our Fourth Amendment right, and heck, right now, Rand Paul filibustered for 13 hours about our Fifth Amendment right. And right now, we as American citizens have given way too much power to the president. And that is something the Founding Fathers, when they created this Constitution, tried to avoid, is one man having too much power.
Through systems and checks and balances and things that were put into place that are blown off today.
Right, exactly. I mean, the president being able to wage war on a country without the consent of Congress. I mean, the last time we actually did this by the books was World War II. I mean, the Korean conflict, the Vietnam War, Desert Storm, Iraqi freedom, Afghanistan, all of them presidential orders. None of them were ever a formal declaration of war.
Well, real quick, I just want to take a quick time out here because, like
Yeah.
you said, you got a bunch of people here that are supporting us and everything. I just want to give a shout out to the people that are in the chat so far. We got Lionheart here. We got Taking Back America, Jesse Ryan, and Richard Head. Guys, I want to thank you guys for not just listening, but in participating in the chat. And anybody else out there, if you're listening, via Facebook or wherever you might be, you can come right on over here to Spreaker.com. And down at the bottom right-hand part of your screen, you're going to see some red numbers, and they're going to keep piling up. You want to click that window open, and you can too put your 2 cents here in the resistance.
That's right. And then a little later, we will be opening up the phone lines. We also will be having a special guest on this evening. His name is Mike School, a big activist, and he's spearheading a movement right now to get all the United States sheriffs on board on following the Constitution. And he's going to talk about that, the Constitution, Agenda 21, all that nice stuff when he comes on. And then, well, of course, we'll open up the lines and everything. But before that, gentlemen, I'm a big fan of history. For those of you that don't know, I'm a huge history buff. I absolutely love it, especially when it comes to the Revolutionary War. Now, what I am seeing, and what I believe a lot of other Americans are starting to wake up and start to see as well, is history is repeating itself so frequently nowadays that it is almost scary. It's literally going by the book as it was written in history. And you got to wonder, have our politicians and leaders, have we ever had once a history professor as in the legislative or as a president or something?
Well, I think what has happened, and I think what you're trying to say is what got us here, and what's happened. You asked the question before. You said, something about our politicians. Our politicians, and this is very, very important. I stress this to a lot of people. I'm not going to say every politician, but nowadays there's too much thinking about the kickback going on. Remember, they're supposed to be representing us, whether that's your local government, whether that's state senate, whether that's the House of Representatives, whether that's the president, whoever. They're supposed to be representing us. They are elected by the people to serve the people. And what's happening is that we live in a world now where it's more dollar driven. So it's basically their opinion and their vote, if you will, and it's been proven time and time again, I'm not just talking out my ass here, is up to the highest bidder. And that's the problem that we have nowadays. The last, I'm going to say, as far as 50 years for now, at least 50 years, there has been pretty much the same powers in power with just different faces in front of them to front it. And because of that is how we have this corrupt system that we live in, today. Like I said, a lot of politicians, I'm not going to say all of them, but a lot of politicians. How many stories have you heard locally or nationally about corrupt politicians taking money here? Their votes swing this way. A lot of times when you see in politicians, they try to use it against each other. Like, oh, well, you voted for this once and then you voted against it the other time. That had nothing to do with the guy's personal beliefs. That had to do with the fact that the next people paid him more, so he switched his decision. This is what's happening every single day on Capitol Hill.
Okay.
And like I said, me personally, I can't speak for everybody here, but what I can say is this. We have a huge election coming up in 2014. I know it seems far away, people, but it's really not. It honestly isn't. There's a lot that needs to be done and can be done before then, and hopefully, in that election to help change these things. We need, to put people in. We need to get out and vote. We need to start learning about our politicians. We need the politicians that are going to work for the people, and we need to be able to change our Congress. That huge election in 2014 is going to tell you the next 4 years, forget 2 years, the next 4 years of everything that happens. It's crucial. It's really, we can get into it more down the road with the, as the show goes on. I plan on bringing on some guests here. I've talked with you guys off of it, to explain, certain things, get a little bit of education, like what is the Bill of Rights, stuff like that, how to do local elections when that time comes up. But I'm telling you, to me, it's a crucial time, for the movement.
Okay.
It's a real crucial moment because, a majority of people that I know do not are not well informed on who they're voting for. They just see a name, they look at the R, D, or I, or whatever it is, and they just check it. They may have no idea on this person's view, and I strongly believe this is how Obama